Good morning and welcome to Mission Control Houston. We are live from the International Space Station Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Texas. You are currently seeing a live view inside this International Space Station Flight Control Room. Here in Mission Control Houston, the Orbit 1 flight control team is currently on console in support of today's hatch close and undock operations for the Axiom Mission 4 crew, and this Orbit 1 team is being led by Flight Director Allison Bollinger, who goes by the call sign Athena Flight. Today, we will be providing live coverage of hatch close operations for the Dragon Grace spacecraft, which is currently docked to the space-facing port of the space station's Harmony module. Grace will be returning the Axiom Mission 4 crew back to Earth later today, following an 18-day stay aboard the orbiting laboratory. During this time, the crew has been conducting a mission comprised of microgravity research, educational outreach, and commercial activities. Undocking today is scheduled for 6:05 a.m. Central, 7:05 a.m. Eastern, with a splashdown off the coast of California about 22 and a half hours later on Tuesday, July 15th at 4:31 a.m. Central, 5:31 a.m. Eastern. Teams recently conducted another weather briefing ahead of today's departure activities, and weather at the splashdown sites continues to look good to support today's undocking. And the Axiom Mission 4 crew on board station is currently working through procedures to don or put on their spacesuits in preparation for hatch close and undock later today. Again, as the crew works through these procedures, they are being supported by the joint NASA Axiom Space and SpaceX flight control teams on the ground. We are expecting a final crew ingress to take place today around 3:55 a.m. Central, about 20 minutes from now, 4:55 a.m. Eastern. And on board station alongside the departing Axiom Mission 4 crew is Expedition 73. As part of that expedition crew, NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers will be supporting today's hatch close operations, and then NASA astronaut Anne McClain will also be on tap to monitor Dragon's undock and departure. Following final ingress of the crew in about 20 minutes or so, shortly after that step, both the Dragon hatch and the APAS hatch on station will be closed, and then depressurization of the vestibule will begin. The vestibule is the area between the Dragon hatch and the APAS hatch, which prior to Dragon Grace's docking on Thursday, June 26, was exposed to the vacuum of space. The process to depressurize the vestibule and bring the area back down to vacuum will take about an hour following hatch closure and preparation for Dragon's undock and departure. Again, we are expecting undocking to take place about 2.5 hours from now at 6:05 a.m. Central, 7:05 a.m. Eastern. The Axiom Mission 4 crew includes Peggy Woodson, former NASA astronaut and director of human spaceflight at Axiom Space, who is serving as the mission's commander, alongside ISRO, or Indian Space Research Organization astronaut and pilot for the mission, Shubhanshu Shukla. And then the two mission specialists are ESA, or European Space Agency project astronaut Sławomir Uznański-Wisniewski of Poland, and HUNOR, or Hungarian to orbit astronaut Tibor Kapu of Hungary. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft carrying the Axiom Mission 4 crew lifted off atop a Falcon 9 rocket at 1:31 a.m. Central.
And cargo.
Houston Station, go ahead for cargo.
Hey, Peggy. Wanted to say great work. Cargo and CG look good. We have no further actions for you.
Copy, thank you.
And there you just heard some communication between the capsule communicator on the ground here in Mission Control Houston, or CAPCOM, as he spoke with Ax-4 Commander Peggy Whitson as they completed some cargo operations. Those operations were completed just a few minutes ago, but they've been completing cargo packing and stowing inside Dragon for the past few days in preparation for today's departure. Again, the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft carrying the Axiom Mission 4 crew lifted off atop a Falcon 9 rocket at 1:31 a.m. Central, 2:21 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday, June 25th, from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And then following a 28-hour journey, the crew docked to the space-facing port of the International Space Station's Harmony module at 5:31 a.m. Central, 6:31 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, June 26th. Shortly after docking, the Axiom Mission 4 crew was welcomed aboard the space station by the Expedition 73 crew. And Expedition 73 includes NASA astronauts Nicole Ayers, Ann McClain, and Johnny Kim, as well as JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, astronaut Takuya Onishi, and Roscosmos cosmonauts Kirill Peskov, Sergei Ryzhikov, and Alexei Zubritsky. Since their arrival on June 26, the Axiom Mission 4 crew has been busy conducting over 60 different scientific experiments, as well as participating in many outreach events and commercial activities. Unique to Axiom Mission 4, there was a joint collaboration between NASA and the Indian Space Agency for this mission, and the space agencies participated in 5 joint science investigations, as well as 2 in-orbit STEM demonstrations during the crew's stay aboard station. And there on your screen, you can see a recap of the Axiom Mission 4 docking to the space station that took place 18 days ago on June 26th. Similar to the docking and arrival of the crew a couple of weeks ago, today's departure will be fully autonomous, requiring no action from the crew. Ahead of the planned undocking at 6:05 a.m. Central, 7:05 a.m. Eastern, there will be a final go, no-go poll about 15 minutes beforehand, around 5:50 a.m. Central, 6:50 a.m. Eastern. And this final go, no-go poll is where the joint SpaceX and NASA teams make their final call for Dragon to depart the space station. Again, this is one of many checkpoints in the return that will continue all the way up until just before the deorbit burn, and it allows mission managers multiple chances to assess the weather at the splashdown zones and make sure everything is lining up before Dragon departs. Again, we heard not that long ago that the weather continues to look good at the splashdown zones for a splashdown tomorrow, July 15th, to continue on our way to undock the Dragon Grace spacecraft. There on your screen, you're seeing a live look from the International Space Station, the camera pointing towards the hatch of the Dragon spacecraft, and there going into Dragon is Axiom Mission 4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla. In the next 15 minutes or so, we should see all 4 crew members make their way inside the Dragon spacecraft and get situated in their seats. We see 2 of the 4 there now, and the other 2 are continuing to work through the procedures to don or put on their launch and entry suits. And there on your screen now, you can see Axiom Mission 4 mission specialist Sławosz Uznański-Wisniewski. And closest to the camera there is the other Axiom Mission 4 mission specialist Tibor Kapu. So the two that are seated and already in their suits are Axiom Mission 4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla, and then next to him is the Axiom Mission 4 commander Peggy Woodson. And the crew will remain in those spacesuits through today's undocking and departure activities. And then following undocking and departure, and once Dragon is safely outside the approach ellipsoid, which is one of several safety zones set up to govern spacecraft arriving and departing the space station, the crew will be able to doff or remove their suits and settle in for the ride home. Again, that will be an approximately 22.5-hour journey before their splashdown tomorrow morning, July 15th, and the crew will then put their suits back on prior to deorbit and entry.
Still stationed on 2 for EDTA blood tubes.
With you on 2.
Good morning. There is the leftover blood tubes, unused, 6 of them labeled Ax blood 10 mil EDTA. Do you have a stowage location for those? I wasn't sure if they were trash, if we're stowing them with us, or should if I float up and get them with Axiom.
And we are checking for a location.
Thank you.
For those of you who are just joining us, you are currently seeing a live look inside the Dragon Grace spacecraft.
Back with you on 2. Those can be trashed in the current harbor JSB.
The trash, thanks.
You're currently seeing a live look inside the Dragon Grace spacecraft as the Axiom Mission 4 crew prepares for their departure from the International Space Station later today. And we are awaiting the final crew ingress. 2 of the crew members already have their spacesuits on, and 2 of them are currently working through those procedures. After that is complete, we should have that final ingress followed by hatch closing, after which the process to depressurize the area between the Dragon hatch and the APAS hatch on station will begin. And then this will set us up for an undocking later today, currently planned for 6:05 a.m. Central, 7:05 a.m. Eastern. Ahead of today's departure, the Axiom Mission 4 crew and the Expedition 73 crew aboard the space station took a few minutes to share some parting words during a farewell ceremony yesterday, July 13th. With that, let's go ahead and take a quick look at what the space station commander, Takuya Onishi, and Axiom Mission 4 commander, Peggy Woodson, had to say.
Okay, so on the behalf of an entire Expedition 73 crew, I would like to say a couple of words. So Peggy, TB, Shooks, and Swav, we really enjoyed your company, and thank you so much for bringing a lot of joy, excitement, inspiration, and other positive ways to make our experience here even better. And your dedication to science and your professionalism definitely marks a new standard for the private astronaut missions. And we hope that you guys enjoyed your time being here. And we also hope that the time you spent here will become unforgettable moments in your lives. So thank you so much. And now I will hand the microphone to Axiom 4 Commander Peggy Whitson.
Thanks, Tak. And we really enjoyed ourselves up here. It was an amazing experience. It's always great to work with a bunch of professionals, which you are, but it's even more special to work with folks that have become our friends even more deeply. And we really appreciate the fact that the camaraderie and the teaching that you guys offered to the crew was really exceptional. And we thank you.
And 1302, did you mean 5102 and 1301?
Maybe. It's been an early morning, and yes, I juxtapose those two numbers.
Okay, copy. Thank you. And finally, for 1001, we would like that actually in the EMER CTB 5511 in Node 2 Deck 2. And that's for the ammonia response medical kit.
Okay, copy. I will put the ammonia monster response medical kit in 5511, the 1.0 CTBs into the pantry if they're empty, and the 2 halves stay where they're at.
That's a good config. Thank you.
And there you just heard some communication between the Capcom or capsule communicator here in Mission Control Houston and NASA astronaut Anne McClain aboard the space station. With today's undocking and departure, the Axiom mission 4 crew with a splashdown tomorrow, July 15th, will have spent 20 days in space with 18 days docked to the space station. And Ax-4 commander Peggy Whitson will have spent 695 total days in space across 5 flights, which will put her at the 7th on the all-time list for cumulative days in space. Since Ax-4's arrival on Thursday, June 26th, the station has had 11 occupants.
Station Houston on Space Ground 2 for any available crew and Node 2 camera. Hey, it looks like the Node 2 camera came unplugged. Can we have someone check the cable for that? Thank you.
Again, some additional comms there between the team on the ground and the crew aboard the space station, working to do some configuration of one of the internal space station cameras.
Houston Station, we reseated the cable, so hopefully that will help.
Again, since Axiom missions for arrival on Thursday, June 26th.
At Houston Station for PNA3 stowage, 5136 is the Dragon Zenith IMV duct CTV, so it's currently empty, but it won't be here in a minute after Vapor does their activity, so I will leave that one in PMA3.
Copy, thank you. And for the camera, we saw it come back online briefly and then go back off.
We're working the connector again.
So the station has had 11 occupants since the docking on June 26th, and then following today's departure activities, the station occupancy will go back down to 7 crew members we typically see on board. But this won't last for too long, so coming up later this month, Crew 11, comprised of NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fink, along with JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Kimiya Yui and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov will launch to the International Space Station, currently targeted no earlier than Thursday, July 31st. And once docked, the station population will again increase to 11 people for just a few days before Crew 10, comprised of NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers, along with JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi and Roscosmos cosmonaut Kirill Peskov, return home to complete their mission. And there on your screen, you can see the crew portrait for Crew 11.